Hey guys, it's God Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 102nd episode of my series where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it had, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So as I've mentioned before, I'm not a giant fan of terms like underrated or underappreciated, as I feel they can sometimes be kind of backhanded compliments that serve almost more as insults, at least when you take someone who's world famous and imply that nobody really knows them or their contributions. But with the third and unfortunately final album by Lord Finesse, any status lower than one of the absolute top tier 90s hip hop releases is vastly underselling The Awakening. Finesse was just one of the insanely talented double threats to come out of the DITC, otherwise known as the Diggin' in the Crates crew. He was proficient as both a rapper and producer, which wasn't exactly uncommon for this supergroup, as multiple legends from the collective were just as skilled on the mic as they were behind the boards, like OC, or of course Diamond D. The rest of the members included Big L, Fat Joe, Buck Wild, along with both Showbiz and AG. While all of those names are essential hip-hop pioneers in their own right, Lord Finesse could be argued as the most talented lyricist out of the crew next to Big L, and coming from the same neighborhood, they actually have insanely similar voices, to the point someone on my TikTok had actually mistaken Finesse for Big L. And even though I'm pretty sure Big L to a degree got his style from Lord Finesse, it is understandable to make that mistake. However, it's a bit unfair in the sense that Finesse is a ridiculously skilled MC who inevitably gets compared to Big L, where obviously it's hard to be considered the best of the two, when if you look at the common Big L comment section, you'll see that even an all-time great like Jay doesn't normally get that credit. If you grabbed almost any other rapper from this era and put his pen next to Finesse, 9 times out of 10 Finesse would get the nod as the doper MC. He was putting work in virtually the second the decade arrived through his 1990 debut with DJ Mike Smooth, Funky Technician, which he followed up the next year with Return of the Funky Man. But while those are pretty quality early 90s releases, The Awakening is really as good as it gets, from some of the most iconic instrumentals to Grace 90s boom bap to endless quotable one-liners. One of my favorite Finesse bars on here is when he says, "Pimpin' is hard, not to me. You got a lot to see. The way I put skins under lock and key, and let 'em front the role like they outstandin'. Huh, I'll leave 'em outstandin' in the cold." Or of course his legendary, "When I drop it, I'm futuristic like fiber optics. Didn't buy my album? You played yourself, should've copped it. None could beat my elite rhymes. Throwing up your hands, kid, huh, that better be a peace sign. You don't want it, that's my stilo. How we on it, when we do our thing, people spread the word like informants. We're still advancing, skills enhancing. We got opponents shook and offbeat like white people dancing." One more slick little line I love is, "I say the shit that get you open like surgery." Honestly, his wordplay and schemes are pretty far ahead of what most of his contemporaries were attempting at the time, and this is someone who's arguably known better as a producer nowadays than a rapper. Which does make you wonder how dope he could have been if he put 100% of his time into writing. Though it's definitely pretty hard to look back on that as a mistake with how many game-changing beats he has on here. The slower tempos allowed Finesse and the other DITC affiliates to try more daring flows and ideas out, and it's a classic case of everyone in a collective pushing each other until all the members involved were rapping or producing at a high level, or in the case of The Awakening, both. It isn't just dope schemes you're getting here either. They're always being used to convey a message or theme, be it the hood, relationships and girl issues, or a lack thereof, and of course the ever-changing state of hip-hop. This LP also has an interesting way of using horns and jazzy samples, but flipping it into a more grimy context, opposed to the lighter approach Native Tongues were taking with a similar reference material. He spares no expense of production here, with even the skits having absolutely addictive loops and chops, and you can tell the second you put it on that this is an album built on the back of a true hip-hop student. Even the features spare no expense, with Lord Finesse reaching both within and outside of his collective for guest appearances, resulting in verses or skits from the likes of Diamond D, Doo-Wop, Kid Capri, OC, KRS-One, Akinelli, MC Light, Large Professor of Main Source, as well as Sadat X and Grand Puba of Brand Nubian. The beats and overall sound of this classic album have aged so well that a little while ago I did a freestyle, and when I was going through my collection of beats on my phone, I settled on one of the Lord Finesse instrumentals off The Awakening, and it was up against dozens of classic beats that came out way more recently. Yet this wasn't some throwback verse, this was something I wrote without a beat in mind, and when someone who wasn't even born until years after your album dropped is finding those loops more fresh than half the shit he's grown up with, you should know that's high praise. But don't take it from me, you can check out some of the honorable mentions I name, and I bet you'll come to the same conclusion, at least if you're even remotely a fan of 90s boom bap. Speaking of which, those honorable mentions would be Time to Bounce, True and Livin', Food for Thought, Hip to the Game, Flip the Style, and No Gimmicks, which would definitely take the spot for my fourth favorite track here. The only reason it didn't make the top 3 is because it's pretty hard to compete with Brainstorm or PSK, Speak Your Piece, and of course, Actual Facts. And if freestyles over classic beats are something that any of you would be interested in, definitely let me know down below. Or if you have any other ideas of content you'd like to see, because I'm definitely happy to do that. Maybe I could start doing like a weekly freestyle on here, or a weekly beat, or something along those lines. Either way, thank you for watching my 102nd video. Next time we're going to stay in the East Coast, but go the opposite direction with a Native Tugs classic. So check in for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs off of this gem are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.